Welcome! Thank you so much for joining me on the Socially Delightful podcast. I'm Jewel, human connection enthusiast and your host, and this show is all about delighting in yourself, delighting in socializing and in others, and creating truly supportive, delightful friendships and relationships, even in our modern world with our modern stress. In this podcast, we have fun creating a new culture of living in social delight. Now let's dive into how we're going to do that today.
Kind of feels like iCarly, where we're like doing video. I don't know why I thought of that when I was doing the little thing, but I was like, wow, it feels like we're on iCarly or something.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that. So if it's iCarly, then you're too happy to have resting bitch face.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like 2 of the 3 members of iCarly did have resting bitch face.
Fair.
Yeah.
True. I would like to be Spencer of the situation.
I thought you were going to say Sam, but okay, you can be Spencer.
Nah. Nickelodeon is a little controversial right now.
That's true. Okay, no, that's true. I'm thinking old iCarly, not new iCarly. So Sam didn't make it to that, so.
There's a new iCarly?
Yeah, there's a reboot.
I didn't know
they're
that either.
always doing reboots.
Dude, and the girl that plays Carly, Miranda Cosgrove, has not aged a day. My gosh. She still looks amazing. And
I'm
honestly,
sure
Spencer looks the same too.
We love that for them.
Yeah.
Okay. We good? Everybody feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a drink, but no kidding.
Says the one that never drinks. Anyway.
I'm kidding. I don't need a drink.
All right. Welcome, everybody. So today I am going to be telling my best friends and Oliver's tale. if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to be telling my best friends how I used friendship science to make them my friends. So today we have Nikki. Nikki, say hey.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
So happy you're here. We have JP.
Hey.
Right next to me in the studio.
Live.
All right, how are y'all feeling?
Good. First time ever being on a podcast.
Woo! First time ever being on an iCarly show.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's what I was saying earlier. I'm feeling a little nervous, being on a podcast, first time, but hopefully Nikki and I are just pros at it. We'll see.
I imagine. And honestly, I'm a little nervous too. So I actually haven't recorded any other podcasts yet. This is also my first one. So we are all in this together.
I knew you were going with that, like, as you were saying it.
But for those of you watching, if you could help me and hype these ladies up, I would be so thankful because they are so funny, brilliant, and lovely. And I want to trick them to coming back over and over and over again. So for now, this episode is going to be mostly me rambling to them and explaining to them, this time soberly, how I made them my friends and sharing all the secrets for that. So I also just want to start by saying that I wanted to do this episode for many reasons. So a lot of people, including JP, but a lot of people will say things like, oh, my besties and I, we just met and we just clicked, or we just became friends and it just happened. And I love that. And I think that happens a lot because friendship feels so magical, amazing when you're in it. When you are in supportive friendships where you feel like you could be yourself, right? Like it feels very magical, but friendship does not just happen to us, or it doesn't. Like it has a science. That's my goal in breaking that down today. And I also want to say, like, really important note, the science of friendship, it's been studied, and really we owe that to this woman named Shasta Nelson for putting it all together and dedicating her life to studying friendship. Like, she is the pioneer. She is the friendship, like, babe icon. And my friends. So
thanks, Shasta.
I mean, I'm still here, so.
Yeah. It's been what? Like, I was thinking about it today, actually. It's been, 4 years?
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that because when I was doing the notes, I was like, oh, the pandemic. Remember?
Yeah, remember that? Just that tiny thing?
That tiny thing, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense because we've done so much together, but it really does not feel like 4 years.
It's wild how much has happened in the past 4 years. Like, crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So I think I've like hinted at it already, but this conversation actually started in Greece. Do y'all remember that?
I do.
Yes, I do recall.
Which, let me say my favorite joke. Like, yes, we are three ladies that traveled to Greece, just like in Mamma Mia, except this time nobody got pregnant.
Less.
Yes.
Love that for us. We had the dancing, the singing, but not that.
And at this time, I was doing like friendship coaching and stuff, but I would never really, like, I think I talked to y'all about it here and there, but I never really told y'all, like, that I sought y'all out to be my friends. And so it was in Greece, and JP, I believe it was you, right? Like, you said something like, our friendship is just special.
Yeah, I was in my feels. Yeah.
Like,
It was, yeah, just in my feels in Greece with my friends. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cute, but like, no.
Yeah.
And not that it doesn't feel special, but I explained over a bottle of red wine, a brown paper table placemat, and a pen. And I wrote down on that placemat, and I wrote down how I tricked these two into being my friends. And now I'm going to do that 100% sober. So
Yeah, true story, guys.
I was gonna say, it just took me back to like when we were just like, oh, we'll have a glass of wine, and the guy's like, okay, and he comes back and he just like plops this whole thing on the table, and we're just like, we can't drink all that.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another.
yeah, that was the first plot twist.
Yeah, and then we just went deep into this. Jewel just blowing our mind over a bottle of wine.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I forgot that he did that. So first and foremost, a couple other plot points besides the whole bottle of wine that we ingested. So Nikki, JP, I don't know if I think I expressed this to one of you, but I don't know if I've ever told both of you that you two weren't the only friends I was applying this like friendship science on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nikki looks betrayed.
I mean,
that's on Bernard. Oh my gosh, your cat.
he can hear me talk, and he's like trying to figure out who I'm talking to. So he's like now super interested in me.
We love it. But yeah, there's some spice to this tea. So y'all picture this. It's at the end of 2019. I just moved back in with my mama. Being gone for 5 years at college and traveling in my car, and all my friends were spread out all over the place, and they were doing their own thing. And I was like, damn, I am lonely. I want like meaningful connections. And I realized too, one thing I was also really craving was I want to be friends with people that are also interested in similar things as me, that have similar values as me. And I was like, oh man, like I'm really feeling that craving. So I want to say this especially and highlight this point because there's so much extra shame that is put on top of feeling lonely. Like, we typically then go ahead and make it mean like, oh, something is wrong with me, or like I should have this figured out, like something's wrong with me for feeling this way. Absolutely not. Loneliness is just like feeling hungry or thirsty. It is a craving for connection. And it was this craving that truly changed my whole life, like really paying attention to it and listening to it and not making it mean something about me. Because of course I was like, oh my God, something's so wrong with me. We're like up in my feels about it at the time. But it was really this that allowed me to get really curious about friendship research. Again, shout out to Shasta. So yeah, if you are in that space right now where you are maybe feeling shame, or you're like, oh my gosh, something has gone terribly wrong because you don't have the connections that you are currently craving, like, no, okay, you just got to apply some science. We're going to break it down today. Like, anybody can do this. Every friendship ever has these things. So the very first thing that I did after learning this science, and this is such a hack, because so often we hear, like, if people are saying that they're lonely, like, oh, I gotta go and like meet people, right? Like, oh, put yourself out there. And I don't know about y'all, but to me personally, that sounded so gross. I was like, I I don't want to go have to meet new people. But I'm really glad I listened to that and listened to that craving, because most people have a community already built around them and already know enough people. Like, I wasn't a hermit, right? I wasn't in a cabin living in the woods. I was a part of groups and a part of things. And so what I did was I thought of, excuse me. Okay, we're gonna cut that.
I gotta do it too. Okay.
Yeah, let it go.
Break, everyone.
So I thought of people like from my past, because at that point I hadn't talked to y'all in like a year, because I think I graduated in 2018, and y'all had actually probably two, because y'all were a grade above me. So y'all graduated college a year before. Anyway, so I thought about people that inspired me. I thought about people where I felt held and people that I had a connection with. Nikki, oh my gosh.
I mean, just butter me up.
Like a little roll. Oh my gosh, was that Oliver?
Yeah, every time I talk, he's like trying to figure out what's going on.
I love it. Theatrics, adding to it. Oliver is hopping in front of Nikki, her cat. It's amazing. For those of us just listening in. But so I thought about that, and I decided to prioritize 4 people. Can y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear that?
Can you hear that, Nikki?
Yeah. But like, I can only hear it because I'm listening to it. If you guys are talking, I won't be able to hear it.
Still, though, you don't want to get it.
What is it?
It's a blender.
Oh. Do you want me to lock Oliver up? I did not realize he was going to be this bad.
If you want to, he's obviously, I don't care.
Are you sure?
Let's
I think he's
distract me
over
about
it.
We should lock my mom up in the process.
Here, let me go put
I think that
Oliver
might have been why they were
upstairs.
knocking. I don't know.
They knocked?
Someone was knocking on the door.
Oh, when?
When we were recording.
You're embarrassing
So they were probably
me.
trying, coming to say like,
Embarrassing
hey,
me.
I need
Ay. Okay. Hey, cute background.
Oh, thanks.
You like that it's us in
Yeah.
Greece? That's actually really funny.
Yeah. I actually planned that, you know? Not really, but.
'Tis the spirit. Okay, it seems to be good right now.
We'll see.
All right, let's try again.
Wait. Okay. Nikki, there's a hair out of place. You're good now.
I was like, if these girls don't say anything, like I was thinking about keeping it up to see.
You're like testing us.
Yeah. But Oliver's upstairs. I am so sorry for my unprofessionalism.
Oh,
Wow.
you're so good.
I think I'm lagged. Am I lagged though?
A little bit, but it should click. Sometimes
Okay.
it's just Wi-Fi. It won't, like your audio's still good, so
Okay, good.
yeah. I'm just checking on our audio too, because it was kind of getting loud. Ow. All right, we're good. So I actually decided to prioritize becoming friends with 4 people. So obviously Nikki and JP. And today we're just going to call them by fake names. So we're just going to call the other 2 Hallie and Anna. So, oops. Okay, yeah. So I was giving myself like a head start here because I already had a baseline of connection with these people, right? I was not starting brand new, and most of the time you don't. Like, most of the time you have already met people who are amazing and beautiful and could fit what you want in a friend. You don't need to go out and make new friends, especially when it comes to meaningful connection. So if you think about it like a triangle, okay, the first element of like friendship science is the bottom part of the triangle, the base, and that is meaningful moments, okay? Every friendship ever like has this like baseline, featuring my Band-Aid. So meaningful moments at the bottom here, right? And I want you to think about it as you go up the triangle, so up to the pinnacle, to the top. That is where like your confidants are. So like for a lot of people, their romantic partner, and most of the time we can fit like 2 other people. Arguably, like some people argue more, some people argue less. But we, at the very top of our triangle, like our confidants, the people closest to us. So meaningful moments, I already had some with y'all. Now, one of my favorite parts of the story, actually, that we've only mentioned in the very beginning here was that this started right before the pandemic and like in the beginning of the pandemic. So I like made these girls be my friends, even in a global pandemic. Like, this is how this shit works.
I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah, it was definitely a straight pandemic, like in the middle of it.
So, I linked up with Hallie and Anna, and I linked up with JP first. So, and JP, like, just to ask you too, because a lot of people are so afraid of bothering other people. And so, how did you feel like when I came out of nowhere? It's been like 2 years since I've seen you. What was it like for you when I reached out to you after 2 years?
Yeah. So it's interesting. That's such a relatable feeling like you're bothering someone when you reach out. And Jewel was someone who, as she mentioned, we knew each other, but we weren't super close. But she was someone who I always looked to and was super inspired by and always wanted to be friends with. And I had my own thoughts around it. I always thought she has too many friends. Like, she would never want to be friends with me. And she wouldn't have the time. So it was someone who I always thought I would love to be friends with her, but just never thought that would ever happen. So to me, that's why I never reached out, because I had that thought. So it's totally relatable. But when she reached out to me, I was just really excited because I always was interested in being her friend. So yeah, I was really excited by it.
Aww.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You told me that before, but that's so fun. Especially because anyone that knows JP knows she has 1,000 friends. And so a thought that I had at the time was like, like she's already got like all of her people, you know? But, and this is so key, like I let you decide, you know what I mean? Like I gave the option and was just like, well, like here are people, like, right, like here are my 4 people, like I'm still just gonna go with for it with these people. We'll see what happens. So what I did then was I started to create consistency. So we started FaceTiming. I started like initiating like plans or texting, and JP and I, especially because it was the pandemic, we like our spheres were so small. It was getting to a point in the pandemic though where like things were starting to like open up again. Like I believe now at this point it was like summer.
Yeah, it was summer, and I remember my roommate and I had just gone on like a trip up north. So it wasn't quarantine anymore. It was people are starting to slowly get out, and we're also really needing it. People were like stir crazy, definitely wanting to be around people. But yeah, so we were at that point.
So we weren't complete pieces of shit. So we started going out for margaritas and tacos, and
highly recommend if you're looking to meet people. That's a great start. You know, even if you don't drink, there's virgin ones. It's fine. It's great.
Our favorite.
Tacos and marg.
It's so... and like y'all, because sometimes people hear this stuff and they're like, oh my gosh, like that sounds so hard. It always comes out easier than you would imagine it to be, because literally at that one of our margarita and tacos dinners, I brought up Nikki, and because Nikki was one of the people on my list, and I was like, well, I've been like initiated, you know what I mean? And the 3 of us knew each other back in college. So I was like, oh yeah, do you remember like Nikki? And we started talking about her. And so we decided right then and there that we were going to invite her to the next one. Nikki came. And from there, and I think I'm actually really curious to know y'all's thoughts about it, because for me, I think this is a really big strength. This is part of like me prioritizing like and looking for people that were emotionally intelligent as well. But we always just like looped each other in after that. Like they're like, we all have our own friendships individually, but at the end of the day, like we loop each other in when it comes to stuff. Like, would y'all agree?
Yeah, I definitely say like I love my one-on-one time with you guys, but there's really something special when the three of us are in the same room doing the same things. It's I don't know, it's like a different level.
Yeah. No, I would agree. It like, yeah, you're right. There's something like Shasta Nelson uses this term frientimacy. There's something extra frientimate about it, though, like extra special, like the connection of it. And like, because a lot of people will be like, oh my God, I hear this all the time. Y'all don't even know. But people will be like, oh, but like trios, like they are so toxic or whatever. It's been 4 years. We're fine. Like, that's BS. But anyway. So I started creating more consistency. So, I didn't even show on my little triangle here. So consistency is like part of friendship science. So friendship science, there's 3 things, right? We have at the bottom are like meaningful moments. And what this really means is moments where you feel good, right? So in this, like in the friendship. So sometimes that might be not to I'm not going to share any details, but at the time, Nikki was really going through something. And so Nikki was sharing about that experience with us. But that was a positive experience for everybody because you got a chance to be seen and supported. And we got a chance to contribute and see you and learn more about you and see you in that way and support you. And it always feels good for people to feel useful in that way. So that was a meaningful moment, right? At the bottom here. And then consistency is 2 ways to think about it is frequency and time, or in history. Frequency and history. So, like y'all have my bestie-in-laws, y'all have like friends who you've been friends with for years and years and years, so do I, right? And you might not talk to that person all of the time, or like for me, sometimes I go like weeks without speaking to my childhood best friend or friends, and I still feel really close to them, but that's because we have so much history built up together, right? We have so much time, so many meaningful moments already had. And so when you're building new friendships and creating more newer meaningful bonds, you need that frequency in the beginning. And so that's what I was really doing with Nikki and JP. I was making it like more of a habit for them to talk to me, hang out with me, and I was building up that time together. So I was doing this, and like I know we talked about this earlier, but really everybody that I was reaching out to already had friends, or I thought they were like really cool and was like, oh my gosh, like I had to like honestly be there for myself sometimes, to be like secure within myself, to like reach out and to keep reaching out and to be the one to initiate, you know? So, and I did this again with 4 people. So JP, Nikki, Hallie, and Anna. And one thing is like I loved y'all, I adored y'all, and I targeted y'all to be my friends. It sounds like so creepy, but
It really
I was
does.
like, I feel hunted.
yeah, I hunted y'all down to be my friends. But I wasn't depending, because I was doing it with 4 people. I wasn't like absolutely depending on y'all to be my friend at the same time. And I think personally that that's why it didn't feel graspy or awful on the other side of it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I didn't feel pressured, and I think like a lot of people would feel anxiety with that if it was a little too much. Like people would be anxious, like, oh, what does this person think about me, or how do I handle these situations? With us, like I think it was always so laid back.
Yeah. And I really appreciated how, like, the flow of it too, how natural it was, because it started, like, with me and you, and then you talked about Nikki and added her in. And I think, too, when you're first, like, getting to know people, it can be actually a little intimidating, it being one-on-one a lot and building that at first. So, like, bringing someone in almost kind of opens it up a little bit, and it gets bigger, like, from there. But like starting it off and keeping it small and then quickly growing. I don't know.
No, yeah, I like that.
It was nice.
I like that. Yeah, no, that's definitely
Because, like,
Really
thinking of
helpful.
it, too, where it was, like, Nikki was someone who in college I connected with, and then we just lost touch. And when you brought her up, I was like, oh, yeah, like, I really enjoyed Nikki in college, and I was really close. And then we, like, it seemed intimidating almost for me to reach out to Nikki out of nowhere. But for you to kind of start that and then bring it together, it really kind of took the pressure off and the intimidation off, and it just felt really, like, comfortable. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And I think too, like, again, we're all a bunch of like emotionally intelligent ladies. So like we can all handle a
Mhm.
quote unquote like trio. Like we're all there for each other. We're open with each other if like there is a kerfuffle,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah. Which actually leads me to my next point. So the other side. So I was building consistency with them, with all four of these women. Women sound so fancy.
It really does.
Sounds so mature.
It really does. We are mature.
Yeah. And then the other side of like the friendship triangle, what moves people up, like again, so the top of the pinnacle is your confidant. So what moves people up on the other side is an increase in vulnerability. Now, the three of us, because we are such emotionally intelligent people, we had no problem like being like really open with each other and being really vulnerable. So, but a lot of people think that vulnerability is just like everybody knowing like your deepest, darkest secrets and stuff. And actually, Nikki and I have an example of this. So when Nikki and I were in college, I was using like my favorite, what I thought would make me friends, which was trauma dumping. I didn't know that at the time, but I was like, oh, if I trauma dump on people and they know all of these things about me, then they'll be my best friend because they know, like, I legitimately thought that. And I tried that with Nikki when we were in college. And we spent a whole day, we bounced around from place to place, we shut it down, and we shared our whole hearts. And at that time, it didn't make us best friends. I loved you, I adored you, I felt connected to you, but that's not what makes best friends.
Mm-mm. I think that was like a part of the meaningful moment, but we didn't have the other pieces of the triangle in play.
Yeah, exactly. And I was always so confused because I did that a lot, like all the time. I was like, what the hell? Why don't I have the friendships I want to have when I'm doing this? But that's why, right? And so we were really good with being vulnerable with each other. But like Nikki just said, we didn't have the other pieces of the triangle. Now, again, we're in the pandemic, okay? But for everybody else, like listening to this, you might be like, oh my God, I'm really busy. Like, when am I going to have time to like be consistent and stuff? Here's a life hack, okay? I was like, hey, let's go on a girls' trip. Right? And we invited other girls that arguably I would also say are emotionally intelligent. Like nobody that we included in this was like somebody, like, come on, people, like, because sometimes people will be like, well, what if they don't all get along? And choose people.
Yeah, you had to. We took that into consideration. We like looked at the people and we were like, okay, how do we think? Because some of these girls didn't know each other. Quite a few did not. And so we really were being honest with ourselves and like, okay, when we invite people, what kind of people do we want to have? What kind of environment do we want to have? We wanted to have a space where we all felt really comfortable to like meet other people, to connect and not have drama or anything like that. So we're really cognizant of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were. And we got all together. I believe too, we even like COVID tested and stuff. And I even invited at the time, Hallie and Anna, I even invited them. But that really sped up our, like, because that hit all of the moments. It hit meaningful moments in a bunch of different ways where we felt laughter, we danced around the Airbnb, and it was meaningful moments because like then I learned that Nikki takes 2 seconds to get ready for bed, and I'm a dilly dallier, and I take 1,000 years to take my makeup off and like get myself tucked in, right? But that's also vulnerable, like seeing somebody in different environments, like spending that kind of time with somebody, it really speeds up a friendship or a connection in general. Like think about dating. And this is so normal for when, like in our dating culture, like when you date somebody, you normally see them like at least, as you're like getting to know them, like a couple times a week, and then you like spend the night and all this stuff, like you're getting vulnerable with them. in a bunch of different ways because you're seeing each other in all these atmospheres and all these different ways, you know? Yeah. Makes sense?
Yes, we're following along, I promise.
No, you're good. So that really sped up our friendship. Now, if you're like, okay, Jewel, great, but like, where the hell is Hallie and Anna? Well, Hallie and I are still good friends to this day. And she is not, though, like somebody that I would argue is at like the top quadrant, if you will, like the top quadrants for squares, the top little section of our triangle. She's not a confidant of mine, but that doesn't mean that connection was wasted or unimportant or like amazing. I love that we are still friends, and she's like on my triangle to this day, right? And then, this is the story for another time, Anna rejected the shit out of me. And so stay tuned.
We can
for
cuss
that.
on this podcast?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Did you like purposely not tell me or no?
Yep. Kept it out just for you. Girl, it's me.
Nikki.
It's me. Every other word is a cuss anyway. It's who I am.
Okay, so you got rejected.
Yep.
Great. Good job prompting. That's my job, but thank you, Nikki, for stepping in.
Yeah, JP can see my little teleprompter notes here, and I was like, don't look at it. That's super.
Oh, no, not even that. When we have conversations, I'm always prompting you. You're like, what was I saying? You were saying that's right. Yes.
You do that, JP.
I have to because you guys are all over the place.
Because you're dealing with someone with ADHD.
Yeah.
And dyslexia.
Yeah.
I was going to say, good thing there's no teleprompter in front of me or I'll be talking gibberish right now.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, okay. My rejection, she rejected the shit out of me. And that happens. And I say this, and I wanted to make sure I brought up all four of them. One, so y'all knew I wasn't like super attached, but was just like open, right? Like I wanted deeper friendships. I knew I was going to initiate. I was going to quote unquote put myself out there, but in a way where I like was befriending people that I already knew, like I had like a connection with, the people that I already knew, like were the kind of friends that I wanted to have. But I share this because like I applied the material and I have these, like, I feel lucky and I get to feel like I have lucky girl syndrome because I have these friends by my side, but also it wasn't perfect and amazing and, you know, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl, like every step of the way. I got rejected and it was still so worth it. And that rejection too, it was brutal. It was brutal. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. And then like one last point that I want to make sure I say about this is I've been joking the whole time that like I made Nikki and JP my friends. But plot twist, y'all were active participants too. And look, like, it's just like an example of like people want connection. Like these girls have shown me so much love. Like I don't want you to be like, oh, I don't want to be the only one reaching out. First of all, be that one, especially in the beginning. Like be the one to go first because the world is lonelier than ever. Like truly, people are craving meaningful connection more than ever before. So be that one, go first. But our relationships, by any mean, like I do not feel like it is one-sided. I do not feel like I have not been poured into and loved on. And like every step of the way, like, yes, I might have like initiated and took this into account and like made sure that we talked regularly and made sure that we went on these girl trips. But then that was all I really had to do. Because after that, the ball was rolling. It was like a big snowball rolling down a hill. It was getting bigger and bigger. And I moved these girls up my triangle because they were also active participants, right? Like Hallie, for example, really wasn't. And that's fine. It was totally okay. I didn't, right? Like, yeah. So people want connection too. Like, don't be afraid to reach out. And I really wanted to have Nikki and JP on here because so often, like people will tell me like, oh, what if they like find out that I like used friendship like science, I learned this stuff, like are they gonna think I was weird? And so I wanted to straight up ask y'all, do you think it was weird that
No.
like how does it feel to be targeted and hunted down to be
I
my
would I would say I would use the word desired. Like I felt desired as a friend, and I don't think it's weird at all, because if it works, it works, and it really shows that you like put an effort to it. Like, you know, you're talking about reaching out, and that's something where I think really helped me in this trio, because you and JP are planners. You guys always have all this fun stuff you want to do. You always are like planning them, and I don't fall, but I lack that. I'm not the best at that, but being friends with you guys, like I'm being more proactive of it. Cause I was like, oh, you guys have planned all these things. It's my turn. Like I need to contribute, and you guys don't expect me to, but I think that's what really helps me is that follow up and that connection that you guys are doing. Cause I'll show up. You know, you want me to go to dinner? Let's go to dinner. You guys want to hang out? Come to my house. You want to go halfway across the world? I'm there. And that
Literally
works.
all true. Yeah, no, for me, I think it makes total sense to really be intentional with the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm even recognizing that in myself too. Like, it's great to have a lot of friends, but if you're not really actually feeling that deep connection, checking in with yourself about that, and then taking a look at the people that's in your circle already, and, you know, reaching out and starting to create those, that's just really great. And I think, you know, you can create great things out of this. I know you can, because I mean, our friendships were created. But you never know what's going to happen. And so I think it's worth exploring and seeing what comes out of it. And yeah, creating out of intention. We love that.
Yeah. And it didn't feel like weird to you. You didn't feel creeped on.
No, I didn't feel creeped on, but she did bribe me with margaritas and tacos. So.
It really is the secret.
Yeah. So that definitely, I guess, helped. So.
I'm just like picturing Joel with like a big fishnet, and there's like a little taco margarita.
Literally, like the margarita, take the margarita.
That's how I hunted.
Yeah, that's how she got me, actually.
Those were my booby traps. Marks and salsa.
Yeah.
And
it worked.
Yeah, I mean, and like now here we are. I'm one less lonely girl, you know, J Beebs. But I also want to say too, like, we've talked a lot about how much our friendship has like meant to each other. And right, like I got a letter from you, I think it was a couple years ago, and it was the first time, like, this might sound like conceited, but also I mean it, so I'm not sorry. But you wrote me a letter and you were saying like, oh, our friendship means like so much to me and so on. And I really had the thought where I realized like, oh, if I never would have done that, like JP would be robbed of our friendship too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, and it hit me like reading that, like, and I've thought about that numerous times since, like recently we were all hanging out for your birthday at Nikki's, and I literally, I had that thought then there too, like, oh, like if I didn't do this, none of us would be having this experience. Like I did it in the beginning so that way I felt more connected. But you, like, it really is offering a gift. Like, you're basically offering other people the best gift in the entire world. And again, not everyone's going to accept it. Some people are going to slam it down in your face, and that's okay. Like, it was, like, and not everybody, like, you know, is going to put in the same effort. But that doesn't mean that you can't move people up your friendship triangle. That means this won't work. That means that it's not, oh my gosh, I can't speak, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And two, it means that you're opening up more space in your triangle for those people that you're going to end up having margs and tacos with and create lifetime memories with, you know, instead of the people who slam the door in your face.
Yeah, like that was such a blessing. And honestly, like, I'll tell that story one day because it truly made me even more of the bad bitch that I already am. Like going through that. But if you were listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that, and you want to apply this friendship science and you want a mentor helping you do that, my coaching program might be the thing for you. But especially if you are, because this is truly, I don't think I would have applied this and put myself out there in this way if I hadn't built like a better relationship with myself and my emotions. And it doesn't mean that I'm walking around here like perfect all the time. Absolutely not. I just had a mental breakdown like 2 weeks ago and cried to these people and got support. But the difference is it doesn't like stop me from doing things like that anymore. Like my insecurities and social anxiety and social perfectionism, they don't get in my way. And that's why I have the friendships that I have right now. This is why I have these two people that are some of my favorite people in the entire world, like on this call with me. So if you are struggling with that, like there is a space here for you. Even if you just have questions that you want to ask me, like go ahead at Connection with Jewel. Go ahead and ask. But yeah, like deep down, you know that you are charming and likable and lovable, and you can create these relationships. You can be like rejection resilient, even. It can be such a blessing. So, is there anything else that y'all want to add?
Actually, yeah. So when you were explaining the triangle, you made the explanation of like how a lot of people have friendships through like childhood friendships because they had that frequency. Mm-hmm. And I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, my whole bridal party was all childhood friendships except for you guys. And wow. I think we were like, what, 2 years friends at that point? And you're standing up in my wedding.
Yeah.
And so I just got that says a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That, wow. I'm so glad you said that, Nikki, because like, yes, friendship takes time. And I'll be straight up honest. Like, it takes longer than dating just because of like our culture. Like, it's normal to do these things, but there are like things you can do, like things that like I did where I was like, hey, let's go on girls trips. Or like, I don't know if y'all remember, but I put us in situations where we would have to spend like a day together. And I did that on purpose because I knew that was going to speed up the friendship. Like once a month, brunches weren't going to do it, you know? So Nikki, I'm so glad you said that because in the grand scheme of things, like you've been friends with a lot of those people since you were like, what, like in second grade. And like you compare that with like 2 years, that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, and those girls too, like I talk to them like once every year, 2 years. Like I don't talk to them all the time, even though when I do talk to them, it's like I talked to them yesterday. They are so solid in my heart. But it's like with you guys, it's such a different experience, and it's, you know, not more or less valuable. It's all so valuable, but it's just so nice because it's like you guys are always hitting me up to do stuff, or we're always trying to talk to each other and do something. And that just accelerated so much with the loyalty and like the bonding and all that.
Definitely. Oh, I'm so glad you said that too, because I was trying to make this point and I think you just made it better than I could have made it. Because part of the reason why I wanted to bring up like Hallie and Anna was that Hallie didn't want those things, right? Like she didn't want to hang out frequently. She didn't want to go on girls trips, do these things. And sometimes it's not even that people don't want to, they just don't have space in their lives. But that was part of the reason why I was like, okay, let's go for it with these 4 people. Because I wanted that. You know what I mean? I wanted to be around people regularly. That was something that I had the desire for. And again, y'all were active participants in that too. And Nikki, I love that you said earlier too that you like aren't a planner, because like I have never felt resentful for that. I can't speak for you to kind of put you on the spot, but
no, I haven't.
I have never felt resentful for that. Because I feel like Nikki shows up for me in so many ways. Like I don't feel like it's one-sided, and I have no problem being the initiator. If anything, I can like, again, like I'm proud that I did this and put us in this situation. I'm proud I initiated, you know, and I'm glad you said that, but I'm just so glad you said that too, because again, like that wasn't like a want match with like Hallie. And so what we have done now, the three of us, is we have built a habit of regularly like being in contact and being a part of each other's lives. Like if I don't talk to y'all for a week, it feels weird, you know? But that was a habit that we have built, but it was also something that y'all wanted to build too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we really aligned in that aspect, that we really wanted to create this kind of friendship, and we were all seeking that. So yeah, we were all active in that for sure.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I can't even picture my life without this friendship. Like this friendship. Nikki, I'm hugging you too. My arm just doesn't show up on the screen. But yeah, no, I definitely like I said earlier, like I have friendships, like I know people say I have a lot of friendships, but I really was kind of missing that like deeper connection and having those kinds of experiences with people. So this was just like perfect for me. And so finding, you know, like starting this and then continuing with it, it's been great. And honestly, it's insane that we've been friends, not even 4 years, but so much has happened in that 4 years that has brought us so close. So yeah.
It's like a relationship where you're like, oh my God, I feel like it's gone so fast, but we've been together forever.
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah.
I would like to propose something.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this, and I know, hold up. There we go. It's still there.
Yeah, Nikki, picture her.
I got it.
Honestly,
Okay.
and her hair's great.
She was testing us. She wanted us to tell her that her hair was out of place. We passed.
So I'd like to propose something. I always we like a group chat, and we have like Greek dancing queens. We called ourselves like the 6-pack and everything. And though I love Greek dancing queens, I'm thinking, what if we called ourselves the cast?
The cast?
The cast, because this is like, we're doing a podcast. I mean, this is your podcast, Jewel, but like JP and I
that was
are
not the
included
direction I thought
on
you were
this.
going.
Well, I'm like, oh, it's the cast. So it's like when I tell Brandon, like, we're going to go do something, I'll be like, oh, I'll be with the cast.
Oh my
It's
god.
our show. You know, I don't know.
love it.
Just throwing it out there.
I would just like to point out that in this friendship, Nikki is the drama queen. And I feel like this
Am I
point...
the drama?
Yes.
I love that. Okay, wait, that's also so funny though, because we're all like our own characters, you know? I love that. Let's
We
do
can
that.
do like a Full House episode, you know, like everywhere you are. And we'll like
Okay.
make clips to it. I told you, Jewel, I have ideas.
I have ideas. When this podcast comes out, check out my social media for our Full House at Connection with Jewel. See the cast.
Are we going to have like cameos from anyone? From Brandon or Oliver?
Oliver
Yes.
especially.
Yeah.
Oliver,
No,
freaking
That's Brandon, but Oliver too.
Just Oliver. I'll just show the clip of Oliver across the screen.
I don't know if you guys could hear it, but I put him upstairs and he's been like trying to open the door for the last like 20 minutes or something.
He big mad. We took his mom away from him. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was so fun, and I appreciate y'all being so honest and so real. And I'm so glad that I brought us here. I'm just kidding. I love you both.
I was like, are you guys going to FaceTime me after this?
Yes. Absolutely. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right. Love you all.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me on the Socially Delightful podcast. I'm Jewel, and I'm truly so grateful that you came and hung out with me today. If this podcast meant something to you, it would mean so much to me if you left me a review so that way I could keep making content that you love. And if you really want to make my whole day, share this podcast to your Instagram story and tag me at Connection with Jewel so I can shout you out. Or send me a message and let me know what resonated with you or what you want to hear next. And I'll see you at the next episode.